why don't more studios use remote work? If that's the case, there's less overhead for equipment and studio space, which means they need less profit and keep their bottom line steady. The answer to that is that, in fact, they do
Some
pretty much still.
studios, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some
Oh,
studios have leveraged that,
yeah. There are
uh,
some,
uh, and
but there
there,
are many that still use their spaces and still
well,
use their equipment.
many of them own those
Hmm.
spaces and equipment and
Yeah.
invested heavily in them, and it feels like
Hmm.
they're throwing money away if they don't make use of it.
Yeah.
And there are legitimate challenges that are introduced when you're doing remote recording that aren't
Yep.
there when everybody's in the same space.
Hmm.
Uh, they're not insurmountable challenges, obviously, because we've
Right.
worked
Because
around them
we've
for the past 3 years or
right,
however long it's been.
or however long it's been. But there are challenges, and it also depends on which client you're talking about, which property you're talking about. Um, because there will be some shows and things that, like, some of the newer, smaller budget anime that will absolutely be like, yeah, sure, just throw it to, somebody, and we'll do more remote stuff. But say one of your bigger picture things, uh that will require a little bit more finesse, they'll feel they may bring you into the studio or ask you to come into the studio. I know that there are shows and things that I work on here in LA. Some of them are totally fine with me just using my booth over here in the corner.
Yeah.
And others are like, hey, we'd really prefer you to come in. And I've also had situations where I have said I would prefer to come in on certain
Yeah.
things because I knew how perhaps vocally stressful or mentally stressful some of these productions or projects that I'd be working on would be for me.
Hmm.
And it's a lot more comforting not to have to handle my own gain
Right.
and not to have my mind on a few, all these other things, to be able to just focus on doing the work that's right in front of me.
A big one for me is to be able to have air conditioning on while I'm recording.
Yeah, that's also really
Yeah.
lovely. But the answer to that is some have, some absolutely have, some
Yes.
absolutely do. And then others, like we were just talking about, in Crunchyroll, Funimation, they just built,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
redid
They
this
want to use,
huge, amazing
yeah,
thing, right?
they want to make use of the investment that they've made for sure.
Yeah, and that investment, I'm gonna guess, was probably made at the with the approval of shareholders and other and folks,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it needs
they
to
gotta
turn around the
show that.
profit.
Yeah, exactly.
That they made the right choice.
Right.
So there's things like that.